friends, today our CryptoBase at the Staking Summit. We are in the Portugal, Lisbon. Let's go and watch what happens there. The Staking Summit, the first summit of the validators. Just imagine. Even several years ago, it was impossible, and now it's happening. We build the future today.
I don't know if I have like a lot of stickers now.
Oh, great.
We'll take it here. Like take a video over here. This.
Very good.
Cosmostation.
And at the Staking Summit, we meet the brightest star of the Cosmos skies, validator Cosmostation and David. And this is really great to meet you in the material world. And what is to be a validator, as your opinion?
Well, so Cosmostation is a pretty product-focused validator. So we're running validators across maybe about like 55 different Cosmos networks. So for us, being a validator is not just keeping a good uptime and providing these infrastructure, but also being able to provide a value add as a product-focused validator. So some of the products that we have are MintScan, Cosmostation extension wallet, and the mobile wallet. So for us, the focus would be to not only validate as well as possible on the chain, but also provide value to the community and also the foundations by providing all types of infrastructure that these teams might need.
Yeah, and this is also was the half of an answer of my next questions. What do you think is important for the validator to do, expect the providing of the security?
Well, so to be fair, being a good validator, nowadays the tech side and the infrastructure side, providing a secure validator is very much averaged out across all types of validators. Because the information is out there, people are generally helpful in how you can manage a stable validator node. So, like you said, for us, there are like a couple different value adds. The products that I just mentioned in the first question, that includes MintScan, the extension wallet, the mobile app, and I feel like all different validators have different edges. So some validators are very research focused. Some validators are very focused on like the infrastructure side. For example, providing RPC endpoints, API endpoints for developer onboarding. So there are a lot of areas that a validator could focus on, and it's important for you to not only validate a chain as secure as possible, but also figure out a way to have value add.
Yes, great. And how do you think, what is the best change to the validate or best ecosystems to validate?
Well, I might be biased because we're Cosmostation, but obviously the Cosmos Hub, great tech, great people building on Cosmos, and generally the whole Cosmos ecosystem is a very vibrant place. I feel like a lot of these projects are currently undervalued. I would say namely, Stargaze, Juno, Evmos, some of the chains that we're validating on Cosmostation. And I would say Cosmos is very great.
Yes, we are maximalist of Cosmos ecosystem. And what we can wait new from the Cosmostation, or maybe already what's new from the Cosmostation?
So we have a lot of different roadmaps. Being a product-focused validator and maintaining all of these different products, we have different milestones for each. I would say that we're very focused on MintScan right now. MintScan is a block explorer for most of the Cosmos SDK chains. Recently we've been making upgrades to provide a more integrated view of the entire interchain ecosystem. So hub.mintscan.io is sort of serving as an aggregated view of the entire interchain ecosystem with information like IBC transactions flowing in and out of each chain. And also, we're adding tools like analytics, so people can better use the integrated tool as a way to get insights on investments and stuff like that. So yeah, one of the first upgrades we made to that goal is the validator detail information. So you could sort through all of the validators within like the top 500 percentile in the Cosmos ecosystem, and then sort them by number of delegators, total TVL, AUM, total number of chains they're validating on. So many different parameters. So starting with this, we're aiming to upgrade Minscan into a total analytics tool, something akin to Nonsen, what Nonsen does for Ethereum.
This is amazing. Yeah. This is what we was waiting for so long time. Yeah. So maybe you want to tell something for the validators and delegators that will watch our video?
We love the Cosmos, and we hope that we see more people flowing into the Cosmos ecosystem and love the ecosystem as much as we do. We're very, I feel like the developer community around Cosmos are very technically savvy and also very helpful in general. So if you ever want to validate on Cosmos or build on Cosmos, please don't hesitate to reach out to the builders already in the ecosystem. And yeah.
Thank you, David. This was so cool and nice to meet you. Delegate to the Cosmostation. Cosmostation is one of the best validator we ever know. So delegate to Cosmostation. This is the amazing project.
Hello guys, this is CryptoBase. We are in the Staking Summit.
Very cool place.
Amazing vibes.
And we already take an interview with the StakeCito validator. It's a CryptoCito YouTube blogger. You need to watch his video and you need to delegate to the StakeCito validator. And at the Staking Summit, we meet validator CryptoCito. It's so nice to see you.
Thank you, man.
Thank you for all your content and all you do for the Cosmos ecosystem. And we want to know what is for you is to be a validator.
I think for me, first of all, it's an honor to be a validator. I remember when we got the first delegation to get into the active set on the Cosmos Hub, I was shaking. I was so happy. I couldn't believe it. But yeah, it comes with a lot of responsibilities, right? Like for the community in terms of governance, in terms of uptime, like technical stuff that also comes with it. So, but it's awesome. Yeah, I love it.
And how do you think what is important for the validator? What is important, maybe quality or something like skills? So, what is?
Yeah, I think the most important is obviously uptime, like to make sure your validator is safe, nobody gets slashed, people can delegate to you and they don't have to worry about losing their atoms or whatever coin they have. Second, I think is to have contribution somehow, right? To like, whether it's technical, whether it's content, whether it's community, like there's so many things you can contribute. And then also third, I think governance, right? To like be really thoughtful, spend time reading proposals, contribute feedback, all these kind of things. So I think those three are the main things.
Great. And what do you think, what is the best chain network to validate?
Bro, it's the Cosmos Hub, Atom. That's the one. So
yeah, great.
I like Atom. I like also Osmosis. I think it's really nice. FMOS, Stargaze. But Cosmos is exploding. I think there's so much to choose from. If you like DeFi more, you like NFTs more, there's something for everybody. So if you're a validator, you should look into Cosmos and find your chain there.
Yeah, maybe you want to tell something to the Slum validators or to the people who will watch our videos.
If you're a new validator, I think make sure to be active, listen to your community, take feedback from your community, vote, make sure governance is taken serious. But yeah, I think for the big ones, they probably don't even listen. They never listen, like Binance, Coinbase, Kraken. But if you guys are listening, you should vote on proposals. You guys never vote. That's not good. So yeah.
This is so great. Thank you.
Thank you, man.
Delegate to CryptoCito.
StakeCito.
StakeCito. Delegate to StakeCito.
Cheers,
Delegate to good validators. Thank
Thanks,
you very
man.
much.
Okay, I will go to found Vladi, and after we will make a video with Zdeadex.
Yes, we need to find this Zdeadex. It's a validator StakeLabs, and we need to ask him how it's to be the most fat validator.
The Zdeadex is our friend. We make video the last time on
Yes,
the...
we are at every summit, blockchain conference, we try to find Zdeadex and take an interview from him because he's our ami, mon ami. And we meet again Zdeadex the last time we see you on the
Nice to meet you.
summit. So cool to see the StakeLabs on every our crypto meets. And
Trying.
yeah, tell us what you think is important to do for validator, expect the security.
Oh, you mean like
What validator needs to do, expect the providing of security. Of course, all validators need to secure the network, but what
Yeah.
else they need to do?
good things? I think like providing tools to the ecosystem, trying to have like everyone like understanding like what's really behind like validating, and I think like one of the most things that validators doesn't do, but some guys do, is like trying to educate people, like how does it work, how do you bring it, or even to create a wallet, to try to bring like new people coming, and yeah, like how you secure yourself, how it works, why decentralization is important, like delegate to multiple validators. I think like it's just like communication, like speaking to everyone, like try to convince them that it's like this, how it works like.
Great. And what's about the StakeLab? Now StakeLab, they're still the leader by the amount of the Cosmos chains networks.
Yeah,
and
yeah.
you of course can tell to us, as the person with the biggest experience, what is the you think is the best or interest, or maybe some ranking of the different chains. This is the number one by this, number one by that.
Oh well, I don't think I'm trying to create like a ranking of everything. Like this one is best than the others, because like there is like so many that are all like their differentiation. I think like it's kind of like a human. Like everyone is different, but have like some good things and bad things. So yeah, not trying to create like a ranking, I would say. But yeah, I have some preference for some chain. Like I prefer the ones that have like delegation made like to everyone, not like Kava. For example, Kava is like too much centralized, and even like the governance is like corrupted by the team. So I don't like this. But yeah, if you take like few chains like, I don't know, Sentinel, Chihuahua, or whatever, yeah, there is like a lot of decentralization. Everyone got like some voting power, and we try to have like the community the more involved like possible. So
Yes, this
kind
is
of fun.
yes, it's very interesting and nice. It's not an economical advice, but we already were speaking. We're very bullish on the Chihuahua, and to validate Chihuahua, it's so fun. So if you want to have a lot of fun, just invest in Chihuahua. You'll be very funny. But
That's true. Like it's literally a meme coin chain. So actually, it has like everything, like the fun, the build. You have the smart contract enable, so you can literally develop anything you want with the smartest things we have in Cosmos. And as you say, like there is like validators, like there is plenty, and we will like try to open even more. I think like it's great like to have like newcomers like trying to validate on this kind of chains, because it's fun actually. You bring like new people, you learn many things, and yeah, you have fun. Like it's just like a Chihuahua.
Chihuahua. Very nice. So, what you want to tell to the validators and the delegators who will watch us?
Oh, about the Chihuahua chain?
And also, and about Chihuahua, no, tell about whatever you want. But also, we are very bullish on the Chihuahua, and this is not an economical advice.
So yeah, speaking like about Chihuahua, like I'm very bullish, like because there is like many things that I think we lack of is like the fun part. Like we will have like the Chihuahua verse that will come like next month in December in partnership with Passage. I'm very bullish like about this one. And as I say, like this is something we need to attract people like more to come like in the Cosmos ecosystem, and not even like only Chihuahua, but the whole ecosystem to understand like how it works, the action thesis, the internet of blockchain, and by this we need to grab them like from other activities, and gaming is one. There is not so many games like in Cosmos. Actually, I don't think there is any actually. So gaming is like something like that attract like a lot of people, and I think like when we will be able like to have them using it and not even like understanding the like in the Cosmos ecosystem, then we will reach everything. And I think like this is great. Like this is where we need to go.
Thank you very much, Zdeadex. It's always so much good vibes to speak.
Thank you
Delegate to the StakeLabs. StakeLabs very cool validator. And if you bullish on the Chihuahua and will invest in the Chihuahua to get a lot of fun, delegate to the StakeLabs.
No, try to decentralize, not only like.
I also can part to delegate to the post-human validators, also part to the Cosmostation, because we are all in Chihuahua.
You don't even?
Yeah, we are in the Chihuahua.
Oh yeah, okay.
Of course, we also validate Chihuahua.
I hope so, man.
I will not leave you alone. It will not be there.
Thank you.
One validator network.
Thanks for it. No, actually, yeah, I think like this is all about like communities, and you're trying like to attract like more of them, and this is cool. Like we need like more communities, and let's go.
Yeah, friends, thank you very much. And at the staking summit, we met immortal validator from the Scotland, Highglander.
How's it going, Vlad?
Yeah,
You all good?
So cool to
Nice
see
to
you.
see you, man. Did you
Yeah.
go up too much last night?
Yeah, it was the coolest party, but it's not about this video about this video. What is to be a validator for you?
Oh, it's proud to be part of the Cosmos. First chain I validated on was Juno. Started on there, grown out my knowledge, learned off the best. Now we partnered together with a senior sort of DevOps engineer, and we went from 5 chains to 31. Something that I never thought I could comprehend, but yeah, I mean, security, community engagement, getting your face around, getting people to trust you. You're holding people's tokens and you're looking after it for them, so it's important that you do a good job.
So this is great. So how do you think what the validator need to provide to the networks? Expect the security?
Recently, obviously, governance is a big thing. There's a recent chat about should validators be reviewing code before the upgrade goes live on chain. You know, I'm a bit two minds on that, but interesting topics. But yeah, governance is an important thing, because at the end of the day, delegators have got the right on decisions, but it's the validators that are really the one that are making the decisions. Because yeah, I think governance needs an overhaul in ways. But yeah, probably the other thing that I would make sure was the important thing to talk about.
And what, as you think, we will edit this moment, how it was the question about how do you think, what is the best change to validate, or as your opinion, of course?
We were discussing the other day internally, in Cosmos there is a few chains that aren't really doing much now, and there is some stuff out there that's like not making the grade for me anymore. There's chains like Juno, Eve Moss. You look at the GitHub commits, it's busy, things are happening, the hub doing well. But you know, you've got that, but you've got a flip side of that of like you can't just go on these chains and be successful on it because you're competing with people that have been there from day one, and good luck trying to get delegations to compete with that. So it's not going to happen. So if there's anybody coming fresh into Juno, Cosmos in general, then yeah, you just need to be looking out for interesting projects, get involved in test nets and sort of do what I did. It's like, come and say hello to people. I'm here, and you know, take it from there, man. Simple.
Yes, this is great, yeah.
Yeah.
And what do you want to tell to the validators and delegators who will watch us?
Hello, for a start. Delegators, thanks for supporting us. It's been amazing. Thanks for putting your trust in with us. You know, we do our best out there, and we're try our best to be transparent and upfront to everybody. And stake me post-human, man.
Thank you very much, but stake with the Highglander validator.
I say what's the ChainTools.
Delegate to Highglander validator, because Highglander validator, it's a cool validator, and you need to delegate to cool validators as the Highglander.
Community validator, man.
Thank
Lovely
you
to
very
see you
much.
again, mate. You
Yeah,
take
it's
care.
so cool to meet you. My friend. And we meet Reena from CitadelOne. And this is so cool and nice to meet you on the different blockchain conference and summits. And
Everywhere.
we want to ask, what is to be a validator? How do you think? How it's to be a validator?
I mean, it's pretty nice so far, like especially in Cosmos, because a lot of like community vibes and everything is developing so fast. Like we've seen a lot of new users coming, even during the bear market. Like people will be building, validators be validating and contributing to new things, like new products. I've just talked to the guys from Observatory Zone, and they actually created this cool thing regarding the validator metrics, and they also looking to provide more information so that it's easier for people to stake, to come and be sustained as a staker. And this is something I'm really excited about as a part of Validator Commons. We're definitely looking to make it easier for people to get involved not only in Cosmos but also in staking in general, and create some certain practices. So how's it to be a validator? It's cool. It's cool because you can make a change, right?
And how do you think, what validator need to do except providing security?
100%. So I'd say communication is very important. The second one is contribution. Maybe also of course, you have to be very present, regarding the update of the network, right? And also, the thing recently happened with Jekyll, right? We're not gonna touch upon this, but it's very important to be present, to be very present in terms of technical, in terms of monitoring. You have to be very technical, you have to be communicative, and you have to know, how you can possibly contribute to make the growth of ecosystem existent. So.
And what do you think is one of the best chains to start to validate or to join as the validator? Or
a bunch of any Cosmos network, possibly. So my favorite, I don't know, I love Archway. I think also Skip Protocol is something really cool. I've been talking to Barry, and he's a super nice and clever guy. Also, there is a network that is coming from e-commerce. It's called Loyal. And they're in the test net right now, so it's very exciting. I'm personally bullish, but we'll see what's going on, but like if you're a validator, you're looking for new chains, you definitely gotta check Loyal, Neutron, and also like, I forgot the name, I guess Saga is also will be launching the chain somehow, like sometime this year, so a lot of projects are coming and you have to be on top of things, so yeah.
Remember these insights.
Yeah.
And what do you want to tell to the validators and the delegators who will watch our video?
I think so. Like there is currently this campaign. We're trying to make it easier for people to know about validators, like the contributions are being made. You know, the general information. You know, we're trying to make it more perceivable for stakers. So like, I highly encourage you guys, like if you are validating a bunch of chains, to provide information like factual information about what you're doing, like what's your vision, what's your governance policies, what's your like, you know, slashing policies, right? So like how you will interact with the community in case something's wrong is going on. And so there is this project called like Interchain Wiki, if I'm not mistaken. So you have to submit this information so stakers can actually know about you. And yeah, of course, like check out CitadelOne, right?
Really good. Thank you, Reena, very much. It's so glad and we are really glad to meet you. Delegate to the CitadelOne. CitadelOne, it's a cool validator. They contribute a lot. Do the best. Delegate to cool validators. One old granny from the Europe Union tells that they should to regulate crypto assets. But the problem is that they don't really know how to regulate it. Somebody needs to explain them how to regulate us. This is the biggest problem. We just don't want to explain them how to regulate us. And we meet Cakir from Stake&Relax. It's so cool and nice to see you again. Last time we see each other at the Nebular Summit, and now we see each other at the Staking Summit. How do you think, what is important to do for validator? Expect the security.
Amazing to see you again, and thank you for having me and hosting me. Regarding the validator, it goes well so far. We launched 4 mainnets. We are live now on Nomic. That was the first chain. Now we are live on Juno, on Stride, and on Passage, and we're running also some test nets. And regarding to the security, I would say it's important to build a nice architecture, to have like backup nodes, to monitor also your validators, to always keep up to date, like, okay, is the disk space full or not? Do I have to do an update or not? And then like just stay like active in the whole ecosystem.
Yes, and what do you think about the best networks that cool to validate, or maybe it's interesting to validate, or you can tell, oh, this is network is the best for validation?
Of course, Nomic is like one of my favorite networks because it was one of the first networks I validate on. I think it's a really cool project. And secondly, I really think that Juno is a really cool network to validate. Not because the community is really active, but it's also a really nice network, nice chain. There's a lot of development going on, more and more projects building on top of Juno. So it's really vibrant network and community as well.
And what you can tell for the validators and the delegators who will watch us?
Yeah, just follow Stake&Relax and keep up to date. We want to be like a really transparent validator. So if you have any questions, feel free to send us a message on Twitter, join the Telegram group, ask all your questions. And if you want to be a validator, just reach out, and I think we can also help you to bootstrap that.
Yes, this is great. I'm really glad, Cakir, that you joined the Validator School, and Cakir now is one of the mentors at the Validator School, and he helped other people to become a validator. So, friends, delegate to Stake&Relax, because Stake&Relax, it's a cool validator, and you need to delegate to cool validator. And also, we want to say hello to our regular viewer from Ukraine, Valentina Mikhailovna.
Доброго дня, Валентина Михайлівна.
Valentina Mikhailovna has 6 cows, and by some rumors, she is the PHMN whale. And we want to say to you, Valentina Mikhailovna, we can lie to ourselves, but we will never lie to you. And we met JK, ex-StakeFish validator. And JK, you was the one of the first validator in the Cosmos and so on. What is the validation for you?
Yeah, validation for me is, well, I mean, first of all, it's really good running into you guys, like it's great to see the Cosmos family around, in the staking summit. Well, yeah, validation for me is like the purest form of blockchain decentralization network participation, right? Like, without validators, we don't have a decentralized blockchain running. We cannot power the decentralized application on any of these blockchains. So it's like the purest form of network participation as well as getting the decentralization out there to the world. Yeah.
Yeah. And what do you think that validators need to do to provide aspect of the security? The security is the main reason.
Yeah. So I think validators. Yeah. I think it's just important to keep that core thought in mind that we are providing security, right? I think validators need to maintain that level of responsibility. But also at the same time, what I really want to see is that validators should also respect each other in terms of difference in opinions. All the validators just have a difference in approach. We all want similar stuff, right? We all want to see the Cosmos ecosystem succeed. We want to see more devs building. We want to see more users of blockchains. That's simply it. But we just have a difference in how we want to approach it. So I just hope that validators are able to constantly talk, in a good manner, just debate. It's okay if people disagree, but we are all human. We have all differences, but still, at the end of the day, we all want similar things, and I hope we all understand that.
Yes, this is great, and this consensus is amazing. And as the StakeFish was validating so many different chains, as the Cosmos ecosystem, as out of the Cosmos system, is your opinion, which networks are there, not the better or something? Which networks you think is more interesting as your opinion?
Yeah. So, I mean, of course, we're big on Ethereum. Ethereum was good, but also Cosmos is a lot of fun. Because Cosmos, so this is way back in 2019 when Interchain Conversations was literally the first Cosmos conference, and on top of that, it was where I met all of my validator friends, where all the validators first came together and talked, how is the Cosmos Hub gonna evolve? So, to me, that was the original validator conference, and so I would say Cosmos ecosystem has always been the most fascinating one. It's been the most fun one for me.
Yes, great to hear it. As the Cosmos ecosystem maximalist, the best words for us. Yeah, and what you want to tell to the validators and delegators that will watch us, maybe some positive message.
Yeah, I know, right? Especially with all the drama happening around Atom 2.0, governance and everything. All I have to say is, as I mentioned before, I think we all want the same thing. We have very similar approaches to the ideal of empowering people through decentralization and decentralized applications. I don't think that changes. All I hope is that we're able to constantly talk and admit that we'll all have different opinions and approaches on how we get there. But the end goal is the same, so let's just make sure that we're not screaming at each other, we're not trying to make each other feel bad, about anything. Just let's work together, right? If it's a difference in opinion, it's okay. We'll solve it out on a governance vote or something. So I just hope we're able to all remember why we're here.
Thank you, JK. This is so good and positive vibes. Really,
it's
really
great to run into you, right?
It's awesome. Thank you very much. the Staking Summit is full of cool people, and we meet Juri from the Frens validator. And of course, we want to ask some interesting questions. What is to be a validator for you?
I think staking, I mean, of course, there's like also the financial incentive to do it, but I think in the, like primarily it comes also with responsibility. You are basically stepping one step ahead and are involved in governance decisions, and you are building the infrastructure. So yeah, it's a fun game because like you are really like deep into the cosmos, so to say.
And what do you think is an important skill for the validator?
I mean, of course, the technical knowledge is like elementary. Without that, it's not possible. But you also need to have like a feeling what the community wants, or you also, if you're a validator like that is like looking for like bigger delegators, you need to have a feeling what, for example, institutions want. So you need to understand your customers, so to say.
And how do you think, what is the best networks or chains for the validation?
Can you specify that? So like the best for what?
Like how do you think, if you're a validator, it's and you can choose the different networks to validate, what do you think is the best to choose?
I love, for example, Osmosis. I also love the Cosmos Hub, obviously. But if I would get started now, I would like look for like smaller chains. Also, it's like very easy right now to get into UMI, for example, or Nomic. Like all of these newer chains have like low barriers to enter if you're new and want to get started. And the best chains, of course, is like harder to get in, but as soon as you're in, you will have a lot of fun.
And what you want to tell to the validators and to delegators who will watch our video?
I know the times are rough, the bear market is on, but stay in the interchain and you're going to make it.
Oh, great. Thank you, Juri, very much. Delegate to the Frens validator, cool validator.
Thank you.
At the Staking Summit, we meet Daniel from Validator Commons. And Daniel, tell us about Validator Commons and the idea behind it.
Sure, yeah. Validator Commons essentially started as a working group of like-minded validators that wanted to discuss infrastructure best practices that we could share with a lot of other validators. Eventually it got bigger and bigger and involved a lot more initiatives that involve governance research, policy, evolution of validators set and their ecosystems on different L1 chains. We hosted quite a few topic-specific workshops at different conferences. It basically started from like a place of, there was a lot of problems that we were having to deal with as validators. There was not a lot of communication between validators because validators were afraid of if they got caught talking to each other, then people would think they're colluding behind closed doors, right? But I think like it's important to understand that the difference between collusion and collaboration is intent, and so we basically said screw it, right? A lot of validators were not communicating or collaborating or coordinating together, so we just ended up collecting a bunch of validators into a room at one of the conferences, introduced ourselves, said, hey, this is what we do. And then after that, just every single time we got together, some places we talked about OFAC, some places we talked about governance research. And then it really became like an initiative in which, right, there needed to be an opportunity to coordinate action for validators instead of just being scattered and not be able to like have this collective power if they wanted to exercise their responsibility as a check and balance against centralized foundations. And so we've done a lot. We've worked quite closely with some neutral parties like MetaGov and Block Science who do facilitate a lot of these operational and logistical problems. And then, yeah, it's exciting. I think it's an opportunity to allow for explicit coordination on, I think, problems that don't necessarily fall within the responsibility range of one validator, but it's about among many. And so, right, I think we all agree to that, and so we're supporting it.
Yes, this is very interesting. And how do you think which goals need to be reached, or which targets need to be reached? Maybe not the main, but in the near future, or maybe it's like already exist some ideas that we need to achieve?
Yeah, I think even the process of helping validators identify what best practices exist and sharing that, right? I think a lot of people have complained, a lot of validators, let's say, have complained that there's like a very few number of large validators that just dominate everything, and then eventually you get this like centralization of power among those validators. And then some of the smaller validators have complained, hey, like we need to help decentralize that set. So like being able to identify, being able to work, there's redelegation campaigns, restaking, there's like relationships that can be made, right? Showing other validators how best, maybe the larger validators have good best practices that they've seen deployed, that maybe smaller or medium-sized validators have not had a chance to like yet experience for themselves, depending on their experience levels. Sharing that, I think, is important to help democratize some of that space. There's a lot of work that needs to be done on very specific L1s that involve governance, just general governance processes. Oftentimes, I think as validators, we are a validator on one chain, we see a problem, we see the problem solved, and then there's another chain that we validate that is facing the same problem, and they're doing the same problematic solutions, right? And then it's our responsibility as validators to say, hey, like we've seen this before, let's change it here. And I think it's just that type of information sharing that I think is important, of having like a framework around where those discussions happen. So we have Twitter Spaces, we have a public Discord that does allow read and write access for verified validators, so that, obviously all of that's open to the public. But then if you're not a validator, you can't have write privileges on certain channels, so you can have high signal, low noise kind of conversations. But yeah, I think it's just allowing for coordination. There's a lot of like processes through like governance proposals that validators have to like abide by from their certain principles and what they believe in. So if like a validator does believe in self-sovereignty as like an unalienable right, then they are voting on a particular way, right? Some validators may not value self-sovereignty as an unalienable. So they will naturally vote in opposition if that push comes to shove. And so we're beginning to kind of see like, you know, how actually political some of these like decision-making processes are, and how validators actually need to like understand there is like reason to organize. It doesn't necessarily mean collusion, but like if you want to express your intent with how you want to guide these ecosystems, of which validators have inherited the responsibility because they have the ability to vote, because they've been delegated that power, it's just like kind of a natural way of like slipping into that to their role and responsibility. And perhaps like this type of like very in your face, like, hey, we're organizing, we're hosting workshops, we began neutral, but like, right, everyone else has opinions. So we really need to like show this as like a template for how to solve some of these problems, especially if like the end goal of these blockchains is that the centralized foundations will eventually dissolve, right? Because that's like the process of progressive decentralization. When the centralized foundations dissolve and are gone, who's supposed to be managing the network? It's the validators. Like the validators are going to get all of this responsibility to guide these chains if the foundations disappear. The validators need to understand how and what role they can help in coordinate that. And this is like an important, very fundamental step to that process, I think.
This is very cool, and kind of the decentralized politics that we have never had before, but that we will have in the future on all levels. Also, it's very interesting moment how the community can take the power on the chain from the foundation because of the validator's decision. And but as we can see, mostly participants of Validator Commons, it's a validators of Cosmos networks, not of the other Cosmos ecosystem networks, not the Polkadot, for example, or not some other post networks. Why do you think it's like this?
I think so there used to be a lot of Ethereum-focused conversations, especially with best practices sharing, same with Tezos, but right, Cosmos has very direct on-chain governance that has naturally allowed validators to participate very much, right? Polkadot, you do see some of that. Tezos, you do see some of that, but the naturally more active validators have been around Cosmos. Like Polkadot has a really interesting governance model that I think a lot of chains also can like take really good tips from and then learn from and then also even implement. Like their V2 governance model, which is I think coming out in like the next week or so, is a fascinating ability to like solve some problems that we are also seeing in Cosmos. But yeah, I think it's just the nature of like the validators that have had to be active because Cosmos is like, you know, in a good way, political that way, to have the ability to express that opinion is why we see a lot of Cosmos-related validators in the validator comments. But,
yeah, great. And maybe you want to tell something to the validators and or delegators who will watch this video, some message?
Yeah, I think they're like the way that the system, I think a lot of these proof-of-stake systems with on-chain governance were created depended on certain theoretical assumptions of the type of communication between delegators and validators and their foundations and their ecosystems. The reality is that we don't see a lot of those assumptions come true, right? Like we expected that, right? Redelegation is very easy within Cosmos blockchains, right? Within Cosmos validators. And that was like definitely like one benefit to that feature is that a delegator can easily redelegate to another validator that they agree with. But the reality is a lot of delegators actually just like use validators as passive income and they don't participate or demand certain things of validators, right? Because like validators used to not communicate how they're voting until, you know, I sometimes made a ruckus about why validators are not communicating because then delegators would not be able to know what validators were voting on unless they went actually into the chain or block explorers to see themselves. And then we began to see that. But then how actually, like if you look at the data of validators that do communicate governance and what they decided to vote on and why they decided to vote on, and then you see do actually delegations increase to those validators? Ideally, you would expect that, but sometimes I have the sinking suspicion that maybe not, right? But then that brings into question like the way the system had originally been designed to allow for delegator to validator relationships and communication. And if that's not working, then maybe something has to change, right? Maybe like some validators, if they're not being forced by their delegators to do certain things or not. And then the system continues on, right? And then sometimes we get problems with chains where they don't hit quorum because validators are not voting. But I think really we have to really think about how we can evolve the validator ecosystem, particularly around the governance aspect, to fit what we see more naturally, or maybe we have to incentivize certain behavior. But there's a lot of work to be done, and I think that naturally you have to get together, communicate, have a diversity of ideas, and that's where like Validator Commons as a working group of validators can really focus on. So.
Daniel, it's so great. Thank you very much for this active position, for this good constructive spirit. This is really great to see you and to hear all this inspiration.
Always a pleasure.
Yeah.
Okay guys, the end of the big busy day comes.
And here comes the beginning of busy evening. Everything is possible on the Staking Summit. And we met Jenna from Injective protocol. It's so nice to meet you
Very
here.
nice to meet you, Vladimir.
Yes, the most of our interviews was today with the validators, but we now want to speak with the protocol that invite validators. And what's Injective protocol waiting from the validators? What do you think is important for the validator to be in Injective protocol or in some other protocols?
Sure. So I'm Jenna with the Open DeFi Foundation, which is the foundation for the Injective protocol. And we manage the delegation program. Right now, there are 40 validators in the active set. And it's a growing, evolving program, but I would say especially the recent activity with Solana and Hertzner highlighted the fact that we really need decentralization, we really need a strong tech stack, we really need an engaged validator community helping to secure and decentralize the ecosystem. And we also are looking for great partners to help build out that ecosystem, contributing on the community front with technical contributions, running relayers, and really having a strong uptime.
Yes, this is great. So maybe some kind of the life hacks for the validators that validators can understand in which direction they need to develop themselves to become, for example, validator of the Injective protocol and get the delegation, or maybe in some other protocols.
Sure. So right now, Injective is really giving bonus delegations to technical contributions. So that's where we're really focusing our energies right now, because we have the self-executing CosmWasm contracts, which is unusual and distinct in the Cosmos ecosystem. It allows for a lot of interesting dApps to be built on Injective. And so we're looking for strong partners who have tools, who can help with some of the projects in GitHub, because the code base will be fully open source by the end of this month. So we're looking for more people to get involved and build.
This is not an economical advice, but Injective protocol is a gem. So I understand that all validators in active set of the Injective protocol are brilliant, but I'm totally sure that you can tell, but this and this and this validator, we want to say you are really cool, we want to mention you.
So that's hard because of the 40 validators in the active set. Some have
But
been
maybe
there.
you remember even one?
So I would say today we just had Informal come on board and tweet out how they're very happy to be part of the Injective ecosystem. So I'm going to say they're our newest validator, and we're going to welcome them to the family, as well as thanking everyone who's been there throughout the entire 1 year journey, because today is Injective's 1 year mainnet anniversary.
Amazing! Congratulations! Yes, Injective protocol have the 1 year old at the Staking Summit. This is yeah. And also, what's your feeling about the Staking Summit?
I think it's wonderful to meet so many people who are committed to growing the business, growing the security of crypto, and really helping make sure that it's future-proofed and ready when the bull market tears in soon, hopefully.
Yes, we also all waiting. Yeah. So maybe you can also tell to us why Injective protocol choose the Cosmos SDK and Cosmos ecosystem, not some other ecosystem, not the Polkadot, for example.
Sure. So I wasn't involved in that decision, but Albert and Eric, the two co-founders, took a look at a whole bunch of different ecosystems after deciding that Ethereum could not scale well in DeFi, and they thought the tech stack and the SDK and Tendermint, etc., were the great building blocks for a true central limit order book DeFi product.
Yes, this is it. And maybe you want to tell something to the validators, delegators, so other people who will watch our video, some message?
Sure. Well, let's say Injective is going strong after 1 year. We traded $8 billion, 120 million transactions on net. We're backed by a lot of great people in the space like Pantera and Binance and Mark Cuban. And we've got more and more builders in the ecosystem every day. And we look forward to welcoming the next builders and validators.
Thank you very much, Gina.
Thank
It was
you
so
very
nice
much.
to meet you.
Nice to meet you.
Okay, guys, it's our last shoot.
Big thanks to the StakingRewards. You organized really great summit.
Special thanks for the vegan menu.
Yes,
It was
StakingRewards was even think about vegans and there was cool vegan food. StakingRewards, you are really cool and nice people. Thank you for this summit. All day we spent to listen the most interesting conversations. A lot of cool speakers. We take an interview from so many people, but we even take all the interviews that we want because we just didn't have so much time. But now we will go to party. Where is the party?
Party is there.
Party is there.
And thank you for watching, guys.
Yeah, CryptoBase with you. Thank
must
you.
go on.
Blocks must go on. We love Cosmos ecosystem. Delegate to many different validators, but choose cool validators.
It was amazing.
Incredible. Super good.
Дуже чудово.
Tarpen Bian.
Fabulous.
Richtig geil.
Tune.
Amzungang.